want to talk about is MLB uniforms for this upcoming season. If you're a fan of baseball or really sports in general, you've probably seen the news over the last few weeks that the jerseys that they're going to be wearing across Major League Baseball this year, the uniforms in general, tops and bottoms, the players are very unhappy with these uniforms. Most of the complaints revolve around the jerseys themselves. The logos on the back have been dropped down, so the MLB logo is now below the neckline. It's closer to the name. The wording, the lettering on the name itself and the last name has gotten significantly smaller, and the numbers have gotten bigger. The name is also more arched now. And you guys have seen the pictures. I don't need to show them to you again. It looks silly. There are many players complaining about this. Not only the coloring, not only the numbers, not only the names. They're complaining about the pants, saying that they're lighter than normal. They're saying the coloring is off for the Cubs uniforms and others too. There's been no good news. Now, Major League Baseball has been trying to do damage control on this over the last few weeks. Specifically speaking, they released a press release saying that they are going to look into it, and they also included quotes from specific players. And I want to read you these quotes, and then I'll tell you why I want to read them to you afterwards. The first quote was from Nolan Arenado from the St. Louis Cardinals. He said, "The Nike Vapor Premier jersey is soft, light, and comfortable. It's almost like wearing my favorite shirt out on the field, and it's so easy to move around it." The next quote came from Adley Rutschman from the Baltimore Orioles. He said, "The jerseys this season are much more breathable, with vents on the numbers and better airflow all around. It's really going to make a difference during those hot summer games when I'm in full gear." And the last quote came from Ronald Acuna Jr. He said, "These new uniforms fit better and feel lighter. I play fast and want to wear something that won't pull when I'm running. Feeling free in the jersey is the best feeling in the world." And the reason I wanted to read you those quotes is because I'm almost entirely certain that they're made up. I do not think that those players came up on those quotes by themselves. And that's not to say that every PR quote isn't given by someone else and then signed off by the players. I get it. They sign off on a lot of these quotes. But if you're going to put quotes to players' names, one, find some players that aren't sponsored by Nike. All of these guys are sponsored by Nike, but also make them a little bit more believable. In no sense does anyone believe that those three quotes were actually said by the players themselves, and they actually believe them. No, they're Nike-sponsored athletes, and they were given those quotes and signed off on those quotes. So I think that was kind of a waste of time, to be quite frankly, that they released that press release. But I want to explain to you guys exactly what happened here, because everyone is just giving Fanatics a hard time. And I'm not saying that Fanatics doesn't deserve a hard time, but let's rewind a few years. A few years ago, Nike signed a deal with Major League Baseball in cahoots, in conjunction with Fanatics. And they were going to design and manufacture the official on-field uniforms for Major League Baseball going forward in a 10-year deal worth about $1 billion, a little bit over $1 billion. And the way this was going to work was that Nike was going to design the jerseys. These jerseys have been tested before. They were going to design the jerseys. And then Fanatics was actually going to manufacture the jerseys and deliver them to the players and the teams. Now, Fanatics isn't doing this in their own factory. They bought the Majestic factory, who was making these jerseys beforehand. So theoretically, nothing really changed, I guess you could say. But the jerseys have obviously changed. Now, part of this, Nike deserves the blame because the design of the jerseys is significantly different than we have seen in the past. Now, there is precedent for this. I think it was 2006, the last time Major League Baseball had an overhaul of its uniforms. Players complained about them. Fans complained about them. This is not necessarily new, and it's to be some degree. But what I do think is happening here is that the lights are getting blinded a little bit because almost everyone you know in sports is in bed with Fanatics. Now, I've talked about this at length before on this podcast, the newsletter, on social media. It's been an incredibly smart move by Michael Rubin at Fanatics and the Fanatics business in general. They've given equity in lieu sometimes of extra money with these leagues through their partnerships to give them equity in the businesses. And what we've seen now is there's a list of different leagues: the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, MLS, the NFL Players Association, MLB Players Association, and the NBA Players Association. All of those leagues and their Players Association own equity in Fanatics. And it was reported by Forbes last year that when you add up all of those entities, their stakes are collectively worth more than $5 billion in equity value in Fanatics. So they've created this win-win situation where the more merchandise they sell through their partnership with Fanatics, the more money the leagues and the Players Association makes. They're double dipping. It's literally the oldest trick in the book. So it's very smart, very intelligent. I get it. You're aligning your incentives and you're going out to make more money. But what happens now is that when problems like this arise, it almost takes this internal look and feel where now the MLB has to go internal and figure out what exactly is happening and fix it before everyone complains even further about this. So I do think some changes are going to be happening. I would expect that the design will change a little bit and the uniforms will be better. by opening day. And the reason I think that is because fans are pissed and they're not going to pay $450 for an official uniform that looks like crap. So expect some of this stuff to change. Again, it's smart by Fanatics to get in business with all of these leagues. It's in some case smart by the leagues to get in business with Fanatics because that business has grown a lot over the years. Michael Rubin has made everyone a lot of money, but the uniforms are not good. They look terrible. The players hate them. The fans hate them, and they're going to be changing before opening day. I can almost guarantee you that the design will change a little bit and the quality of the product will change as well. This is not simply a Fanatics problem. It's not simply a Nike problem. It's them being in business together and not making uniforms that are good enough for baseball players and baseball fans this year and the years going forward.